Muhammad Ali asks Bruce Lee one question at a charity dinner. Could you beat me? What Bruce says in the next 10 minutes doesn't start a fight. It starts a friendship, and it changes how the greatest boxer alive thinks about combat forever. But this isn't about Bruce Lee. This is about what happened when Muhammad Ali asked the same question to a different fighter 3 months later. And the answer he got changed. Not just how he thought about fighting, but how he thought about everything. Los Angeles, February 1968. Saturday evening. Another charity gala at the Beverly Hills Hotel. But this one feels different. The civil rights movement is reaching a crescendo. Martin Luther King will be dead in 2 months. The Vietnam War is tearing America apart. Athletes are being forced to choose sides, and Muhammad Ali has already made his choice. He refused to be drafted, lost his heavyweight title, and faces 5 years in prison for standing on principle. Tonight, he's not just the greatest boxer alive, he's the most controversial athlete in America. Half the country sees him as a hero, the other half sees him as a traitor. There's no middle ground with Muhammad Ali. The ballroom is packed with Hollywood royalty, but the energy is different. Conversations are quieter, more serious. People are talking about war and protest and what it means to be an American when your country is asking you to do something your conscience can't accept. Ali sits at table 12, wearing a perfectly tailored black tuxedo. But tonight, something's different about his usual confidence. The legal battles are wearing on him. The forced exile from boxing is eating at his soul. He's only 26, in the prime of his athletic life, but he can't fight professionally in America. The conversations around his table are careful, respectful, but Ali can feel the weight of judgment from across the room. Some people avoid making eye contact. Others stare too long, trying to figure out if he's broken yet. That's when he notices someone watching him from table 18, not staring like the others, just observing with intelligent eyes. A young black man, maybe 24 or 25, lean and intense, wearing a simple black suit. His posture is perfect, his attention focused, his energy controlled but visible. The young man's name is Tupac Shakur Sr, though he won't be famous for his son for another 2 decades. Tonight, he's known as something else, a Black Panther, not just a member, but one of the organization's most articulate spokesmen. During the dinner's speeches about helping underprivileged youth, Ali notices how this young man listens, not politely, but with intensity. When the speaker talks about giving kids opportunities, the young man's jaw tightens. He's heard this before. After the formal dinner ends and people begin to mingle, Ali makes his way across the ballroom. He doesn't usually approach strangers at these events. Too much risk of confrontation, too many people with agendas. But something about this young man's presence intrigues him. He moves with the quiet confidence of someone who's seen real struggle and real power. "I'm Muhammad Ali," he says, extending his hand. "I know who you are," the young man replies, his grip firm but not competitive. "Tupac Shakur. I respect what you did, what you're doing." The conversation that follows over the next hour changes both men's understanding of what strength really means. Ali starts with his usual confidence, talking about boxing, about physical dominance, about what it means to be the greatest. But Tupac challenges him in ways that no opponent in the ring ever has. Not with aggression or disrespect, but with questions that cut to the heart of everything Ali believes about power and purpose. "You think being the heavyweight champion makes you the most powerful man in the room?" Tupac asks quietly, his voice barely audible above the ambient noise of the party. Ali's eyebrows raise. "I know it does. More powerful than the white man, who decides whether you get to fight again? More powerful than the judge who might send you to prison? More powerful than the system that can take away everything you've built with a single decision?" The question hangs in the air like smoke. Ali has thought about these things, of course, but hearing them stated so directly, so calmly, forces him to confront the limitations of physical strength in ways he's never had to before. That's different, Ali says. That's not about fighting. Everything is about fighting, Tupac replies. The question is what kind of fight you're in and what weapons actually matter. Ali studies this young man more carefully. There's something familiar about his intensity, his willingness to speak uncomfortable truths. It reminds Ali of himself, but channeled differently, where Ali fights with his fists and his mouth. This man fights with his mind and his understanding of systems that most people never even see. You think you could beat me? Ali asks. The question that started his conversation with Bruce Lee 3 months earlier. But Tupac's answer is completely different. Wrong question, he says simply. What do you mean, wrong question? You're asking if I could beat you in a boxing ring, under boxing rules, in a context designed to showcase your strengths. That's like asking if a shark could beat an eagle in swimming. The answer doesn't tell you anything useful about real power. Ali has never heard anyone talk about fighting this way before. Every challenger, every reporter, every fan asks the same question. Can you beat Muhammad Ali in the ring? But this young man is questioning the ring itself. Okay, Ali says, genuinely curious now. What's the right question? The right question is, who controls the conditions under which we fight? Tupac explains his theory of power. While they stand near the ballroom's floor-to-ceiling windows, the lights of Beverly Hills stretching out below them, like a map of wealth and privilege that neither man was born into. You're the greatest boxer alive, Tupac says. Maybe the greatest boxer who ever lived. But boxing is just one game, with one set of rules, controlled by people who don't look like us and don't share our interests. They let you be champion as long as you stay in your lane. The moment you step outside that lane, refuse the draft, speak out against the war, challenge the system that created the champion, they change the rules. Ali listens, recognition growing in his eyes. This young man is describing exactly what's happening to him, but in language that makes the pattern visible instead of just painful. So you're saying physical strength doesn't matter? I'm saying it matters, but it's not enough. You can beat every heavyweight in the world, but you can't fight the draft board with your fists. You can duck every punch in the ring, but you can't dodge a federal indictment with footwork. The conversation deepens as they move away from the crowd, finding a quieter corner where they can talk without being overheard. Ali discovers that Tupac has studied him carefully. Not just his boxing technique, but his public statements, his conversion to Islam, his relationship with Malcolm X, his evolving understanding of his own role in the larger struggle for civil rights. You know what I respect most about you? Tupac says. It's not that you're undefeated. It's that you figured out your fists were just the beginning. You understood that being the heavyweight champion gave you a platform, and you used that platform to say things that needed to be said, even when it cost you everything. Ali feels something shift inside him. For months, he's been questioning his decision to resist the draft. The pressure has been immense, the criticism constant. Sports writers call him a coward. Politicians call him unpatriotic. Even some civil rights leaders think he should have just gone to Vietnam and served quietly. But this young revolutionary sees his decision differently. You think I did the right thing? I think you did the only thing. The system counted on you, being just a fighter, just an entertainer. They gave you money and fame and championship belts, expecting you to be grateful enough to shut up and punch whoever they told you to punch. When you refused to fight their war, you proved that you understand the difference between real strength and performance strength. What's the difference? Performance strength is what you show in the ring. Real strength is what you show when everything is on the line and no one is cheering. They talk for another hour. diving deeper into questions that Ali has been wrestling with privately, but has never been able to discuss with someone who truly understands the stakes. Tupac shares his own philosophy about revolution, about the difference between individual success and systemic change, about why the Black Panther Party focuses on education and community programs, rather than just protest and confrontation. People think revolution is about violence, Tupac explains, his voice quiet but intense. But that's exactly what the system wants us to think. They want us angry and unfocused, throwing punches at shadows, instead of understanding how power really works. Real revolution is about education, organization, and strategic thinking. It's about building alternative systems that serve our communities instead of exploiting them. Ali listens, fascinated. He's met plenty of activists and revolutionaries, but most of them talk in slogans and rhetoric. This young man speaks with the precision of someone who's thought deeply about these issues and seen their real-world applications. The breakfast programs we run for kids, Tupac continues. That's revolution, teaching literacy to adults who were denied education. That's revolution, showing young black men that there are alternatives to crime and self-destruction. That's revolution. Violence might be necessary sometimes, but it's never the goal. The goal is power, real power, not just the illusion of power. What's the difference? Ali asks. Real power is the ability to shape the conditions of your own existence. The illusion of power is being allowed to succeed within a system designed to exploit you. You're the heavyweight champion, which looks like power, but you can't fight professionally right now because you refuse to participate in an unjust war. That reveals the difference between what they let you have and what actually belongs to you. The conversation reveals layers of analysis that Ali has sensed but never articulated. Tupac helps him understand that his boxing career, his fame, his wealth, all of it exists within a framework controlled by people who don't share his values or his interests. Revolution isn't about being angry, Tupac explains as they watch the wealthy dinner guests networking and making deals around them. It's about being strategic. It's about understanding that the system is designed to keep us fighting each other instead of fighting the system itself. Every time they pit Muhammad Ali against Sonny Liston, that's two strong black men beating each other up for white people's entertainment and profit. The real fight is changing the conditions that make that dynamic profitable. Ali has never heard anyone articulate this perspective so clearly. He's felt it, sensed it, but Tupac gives him language for understanding his own experience. So what do you think I should do? Ali asks. About the draft, about the legal case, about everything? Keep doing exactly what you're doing. Don't fight in Vietnam. Don't apologize. Don't back down. Show the world that there are some things more important than individual success. Show them that real champions don't just win fights. They stand for something that matters more than winning. The conversation continues until the dinner begins to break up, guests slowly filtering out of the ballroom and into the Beverly Hills night. But before they part ways, Ali asks one more question that reveals how much this conversation has affected him. If you're right about all this, if the real fight is systemic, and my boxing career is just one small part of it, then what's my role? What am I supposed to do with whatever power I have? Tupac's answer becomes something Ali carries with him for the rest of his life. Use your platform to make people think differently. Every time you speak, you're not just talking to boxing fans. You're talking to young black men who need to see someone who looks like them refusing to be controlled. You're talking to white Americans who need to understand that patriotism sometimes means saying no to your government. You're talking to everyone who's ever been told to stay in their lane and be grateful for whatever crumbs the system throws them. But what if I lose everything? What if they destroy my career, my reputation, my freedom? Then you'll have shown everyone what real courage looks like. And that's worth more than any championship belt. They exchange contact information, planning to continue the conversation. But life intervenes. Ali's legal battles intensify. Tupac becomes more involved with the Panthers. They lose touch as the 1960s spiral toward their violent conclusion. But the impact of that conversation ripples through both of their lives. Ali becomes more articulate about his political beliefs, more confident in his decision to resist the draft, more understanding of his role as something bigger than just a boxer. When he returns to the ring in 1970, he fights not just for personal glory, but as a symbol of resistance. Tupac carries Ali's example with him as he navigates his own battles with the system. When he faces conspiracy charges, when the government tries to destroy the Black Panther Party, he remembers Ali's willingness to sacrifice everything for principle. Years later, when Ali is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, when he's no longer the loudest voice in any room, Tupac visits him. They sit quietly together, two men who understand what it costs to fight the real fight, to choose principle over profit. "You were right," Ali tells him, his voice barely above a whisper, but his eyes still sharp. The boxing was just the beginning. In 1987, when Tupac Shakur Sr. is born, his father names him after the revolutionary who taught him that real strength comes not from physical dominance, but from moral courage. The son will grow up to channel that lesson into music, using rap as his platform, the way Ali used boxing, to speak truth to power, to give voice to the voiceless. The question Muhammad Ali asked Bruce Lee was about physical combat. The question he asked Tupac Shakur Sr. was about something much more important: how to fight a war that can't be won with fists. Both conversations changed him, but only one showed him what it really means to be the greatest.